Beautiful mamas, today's conversation is one you really want to lean into and maybe even listen to again because there are so many empowering nuggets and bits of knowledge in here, as I had the pleasure of having Jamie, founder of Little One Sleep Society, on the show. She shared with me, I created Little One Sleep Society because I became obsessed with my own children's sleep and I got certified and never looked back. So many, almost every parent struggles with sleep, and being able to help them one-on-one has been absolutely amazing. I'm so proud to make it specific to their child and their goals because sleep looks different on every child, and I'm able to offer guides to those who need regular information and personalized sleep plans for parents needing the whole thing. I'm proud, most proud, of being able to support parents through the process with on-demand help during that sleep training process should questions and concerns arise. Jamie may be a sleep consultant for our babies, but she is a mama advocate with the mother in mind. She empowers mom to know that sleeping, choosing sleep, and choosing to make a plan to help baby sleep so mom can sleep a little bit more and feel her best is crucial. We chatted about the empowerment and how it is okay to choose sleep as a mom to reduce so many other negative effects that can arise from sleep deprivation on our minds, psyche, self-esteem, physical body, and so much more. I have to note this. I have to note my apologies. You might not even notice, but my mic and audio were really weird, funky when we had our video interview, and I just could not figure out how to tweak that sound while editing for this episode. So my apologies. It's never happened to me before. I couldn't figure out I don't know all the, in-depth editing techniques and strategies with sound. So Jamie sounds great, and I promise it won't take anything away from the power of this episode. So let's dive in. Hey mama, welcome to the Balanced Mom Method podcast. I know you're here because you're tired of living day after day like you're drowning in the responsibilities of motherhood. You're done struggling with trying to find the time and energy to get it all done every day. And you want to show your little ones a good example, but you're so exhausted, which has your negative self-talk on repeat, your patience spread thin, and you feel like you're losing yourself a little more every day. Plus, the mom guilt, societal comparison game, and unpredictabilities of motherhood just does not help in trying to make a change. Well, sweet friend, this podcast will guide you on how to connect with yourself to break free from that survival mode cycle, all by identifying and possibly simplifying your habits. Hey, I'm Jenna, and I've been where you are. I was consumed in the struggles of motherhood, and I needed to make a change to take back control of my time, energy, identity, and life. And in finding that freedom, it became my mission to help make that connection with moms that we can give our children and families the best, and not at the expense of our own health, self, and well-being. Moms shouldn't have to choose between their families, priorities, and themselves. We can balance it all, and it all starts within ourselves. Let me take your hand and make that connection with you and equip you with simple, lifelong habits. If you are ready to say goodbye to just surviving and finally reclaim your life in motherhood, then you are in the right place. Let's get to the root of cultivating real change because it's time to feel like you again. Warm up that cold coffee, pop in your earbuds, and tighten that top knot, mama. Let's overcome together. All right, mamas, we have another amazing guest for today's chat, and I wish that Jamie and I would have connected like 12 months ago, or honestly 4 years ago, if we want to go back to when my first was a newborn, because y'all know that I am 0 for 2 with babies being quote unquote good sleepers, each for different reasons and for different things as they were growing up. But this show isn't even about sleep consulting, and I feel like I share about that all the time. So I am so excited to have Jamie here with us. I feel like I've just been really transparent with my struggles, bringing, the relatability and the solidarity just to the hardships that we go through. And that's why I do share those things with my baby didn't sleep through the night and just those struggles. So that's one of many reasons that I am so excited to learn from Jamie today, the founder of Little One's Sleep Society. And I just love her viewpoints and perspectives, and really just how her values seem to jive with the overall mission of the Balanced Mom Method in leading with connection and tuning in with ourselves and our well-being, and sometimes knowing when to choose sleep as moms ourselves. So I want to pass this heavy, possibly frustrating and defeating topic, maybe just me feeling that way sometimes, but I want to pass that baton over to an expert. So Jamie, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little about you and the Little Ones Sleep Society?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. Um, so I'm a mom of two. I have two toddlers, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, very active, a military spouse. So, a lot of time where my husband can't be at home and I'm the one um solo parenting. And so, as you can imagine, that leads to exhaustion, which is why I'm so passionate about moms choosing sleep.
Amen.
Um, but I founded Little One Sleep Society almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this year, actually. And I love it. I love science. So what goes behind sleep, right? Biologically in their brain, what's going on physically in their body, all the things that kind of uh, can really affect their sleep. What's normal, what's common, what should you be looking out for that might be something to speak to the pediatrician about. Things that I didn't really know when I had my firstborn. My husband was deployed. So I was me at night. I mean, I was at home with my family, but at night it was just me and my newborn son, and everything confused me. The internet confused me more because everything led to your baby's dying, like
Oh, yeah.
stress, right? And then on top of that, sleep deprivation. So I got certified a few years ago, and I'm super proud of being able to offer one-on-one support with families. It's on demand, and I'm super proud of that
Mhm.
because every baby's sleep looks different. What every family needs is different. And so I love being able to tailor the sleep plans to what the parent is needing, their philosophies, but then also what their babies need. And so I'm just excited to really get the word out on why moms should really think about prioritizing sleep and the benefits and the dangers of not sleeping, and so that they can make an informed decision for them, their babies, their families.
This is such just a powerful topic because I feel that choosing sleep, and I'm using air quotes here, choosing sleep is something that looks like as a weakness or like of that vulnerability. And I feel like we almost put that guilt on ourselves for choosing sleep because the dishes need to be done, the laundry needs to be done, when they tell you like, oh, you need to sleep when the baby sleeps, and then in the back of your mind, you're like, well, am I gonna cook when the baby cooks and do laundry when the baby does laundry and things like that, which I feel like to some degree is true, but then also knowing,
Yeah.
listening to your body. And I love that you said you really bring in that science piece to be able to connect and listen to your body to know when you need the sleep. So I know you're passionate about this. Talk to me, dive in a little more about just us moms, being able to how to choose sleep.
So I think the first thing is before you make a decision, you have to think about the negative parts, unfortunately, to be informed on both sides. And it makes me super upset when I hear so many people say they almost wear the team no sleep as a badge of honor, like, well, you're a mom, so you have to be sleep deprived. And it's like you really don't. And that's such a disservice to yourself because sleep obviously messes with your psyche. Sleep is not good to what is it, your metabolism, for like your weight can go up and down depending on your
For
sleep. It's
sure.
not your stress. If you're not sleeping good, you're not able to function or focus. I know for me, I was not present. I was super distant. I was crappy all the time. The only time you have really to yourself is when your baby is sleeping, which means, if there you can get restorative sleep when it comes time at night. Because during the day, you're right, you're busy cooking, you're busy cleaning. Sometimes you don't want to sleep. Maybe it's catching up on some TV time because you
Right.
might not be getting that during the day. So when your baby's sleeping better at night, or even when you're working on naps and they start to get longer and
Sure.
you have that time, you have the ability to say, okay, I could sleep. I can maybe have some time to relax, which in itself, even if you're not sleeping, sitting down, watching your favorite show, that's relaxing. That automatically puts you in a better mood. It
Mhm.
automatically puts your body at peace so that you can tackle the rest of the day when your baby is awake and you have to be present for them.
Exactly. Yeah, being able to turn off even if you're not sleeping. Totally.
Exactly. And I wish more moms knew that. I was reading a book and it said to start, and it's a balance, right? When your baby's a newborn, you're not going to get the sleep that you want. It's just
Right.
right?
That's in survival mode, that fourth trimester.
Yeah, they can't physically do it. They don't even have, I don't know if you know this. This is like my favorite thing. Babies don't even produce melatonin until they turn 4 months of age. So in the womb, the only reason they can sleep when they're in the womb is because they're pulling that melatonin from mom.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when they come out the womb, they don't even know it's day. They don't know it's night. They don't produce melatonin, which you need to sleep.
Mhm.
So baby's not sleeping, mom's not sleeping. It starts to take an effect on her. Sometimes it could take an effect on your marriage, right?
Oh, of
It's like
course.
you don't even mean anything by it. You guys are both just tired. So
100%.
yeah, and I remember this book forcing moms to sleep train their newborn and to not feed them unless it's been 4 hours, and something super crazy, which would just mess more with the mom. Like you have to find that balance and get informed and make your decisions in an informed state.
Sure.
So speak to somebody. I always tell people like, hey, listen, let's get people on board in this village of motherhood, because it can be super hard. And if you're breastfeeding or you're nursing, have a lactation consultant on standby. That's great for your psyche and for your body as well. And ultimately, if you're good, baby's good. Have a sleep consultant. Think of like the people who are in that baby field that'll really work with mom and make sure that mom is okay. Because if mom's okay, her psyche's okay, she's rested, then baby is okay.
Yep.
And I think that we need to have more conversations about sleep being important, and not saying, oh, well, I have an 8-month-old and that's just what it is. The baby, we can't do anything about it.
Sure.
I don't know.
And
I
I'm
personally
of saying that. I am.
and I don't know how, like, for my personality type, I was not able to function with that. I mean, and even as a newborn, I told my husband, if she doesn't get her act together, she didn't know what she was doing. Wasn't a sleep consultant then when we had our daughter. So I was like, if she doesn't get her act together by 4 months, we're going to sleep train her.
Yep.
Because I need to sleep. I had a toddler at the time. My husband was a drill sergeant at the time, so his hours were terrible. So it was me, and I had to make sure that I was happy to be with my kids, that I was happy to engage with my kids, that I didn't accidentally hurt one of them or drop the baby because I'm not able to focus.
Exactly.
I was just gonna say it's so important, and I that's basically my mission, is like, let's talk about sleep and why you should be pro sleep. Once your baby is old enough to learn certain things and you work alongside with them, let's talk about that. Let's do it. Why not?
Exactly. In such a hustle, go society, being pro sleep. And I almost feel like I see that more on social media lately, with like the coming back and like the rest and the sleep is like a good thing. And I'm like, praise the Lord, because sleep, like what you were saying, it affects so much your psyche, your mental health, the brain fog. Okay, I'm so brain fogged. Why? Well, are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Like there are other reasons,
Yeah. And I really believe when we're looking at postpartum and postpartum depression, yes, it's hormonal and it's all these things, but I also think that if we were to take out the no sleep element, once baby is old enough to sleep train, we would see a huge change, because sleep affects everything.
I 110% agree with that. And I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional by any means, but even like from my personal experience, both times, like when you hit that breaking point of being like, I need help, because like, I really feel that the sleep deprivation, if you take that away from everything else and you were able to get a solid 8 hours of sleep, a night, it would take out a lot of other, I don't want to say ailments, but other things, other, negative things that we might be going through, feeling.
That's right. That's right. And I know that that's what it did for me. Like, I had a doctor tell me, oh, well, then like just automatically tell me, well, you have postpartum depression. And I was like, I really don't think that. I honestly think that I'm just tired. All I think is, if I can just hold off, until my daughter will sleep, good longer stretches. It doesn't even have to be a solid 8, but longer stretches, then I'm going to be able to function a lot better. And that's what happened. I mean, when she turned 4 months old, we sleep trained her, move her to her own room. We got rid of the pacifier, got rid of the swaddle. We did it all on the same night. And I'm like, I mean business. I need to function. I am miserable. And when mom is miserable, everybody can feel it and everybody can become miserable, because we set the tone for our homes.
Yes. And I
you
vouch
know?
for it. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I do want to touch on that too, because I remember going to my postpartum visit with my OB, with both babies, with both kids, filling out that questionnaire, right? Asking the depression and anxiety questions. And I
Yeah.
remember on both of them, I was like right at that cusp of
Hmm.
like she asked me, do you think you need to talk to someone or see someone? And I said, no, I'm just tired. And I know that
Yeah.
I'm anxious. I know that I feel these feelings, but I know it's because like I'm sleep deprived. I have a new baby. Like I was still able to like register through that. Um,
Right. Right.
a lot better with my second than my first. I did struggle a lot more with my first because I thought I had to be super mom. I thought I had to do all of these things and
Right.
team no sleep. Like that was me when you said that earlier. That was me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a burden to put on yourself, right? Like life is hard enough. If
Yeah.
you're a mom, you're a wife, and for some of us, you have a career outside the home or you work from inside the home, you have your own business, or we have so much going on top of taking care of the home and our husbands making sure that we're like on the same team, you
Mhm.
know, that that's that's an extra burden that we put on ourselves, and you kind of have to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to be like this anymore. This is no way to live. Like something has got to change.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
hit the breaking point at 12 months with my daughter, right before we went on the Bahamas, right before we went
Yeah.
on the trip. It was,
Yes.
I
Recent.
remember, yes, very recent. I was that like I knew I hit that threshold and we
Yeah.
moved her crib in with my son because we only have a 2-bedroom home and I didn't
Uh-huh.
want to put that burden on him. I didn't want him to not get a good night's sleep, but I
Yeah.
knew that I'm like, she could smell my milk. She could smell something. Like there's
Oh,
something
yeah.
about her being in my room that I just want to try this. We just got to try it. I told Jace, come in our room if she keeps you up. And I kid you not, like she's only waking up a couple times a night. It used to be every hour. So, but I
Well,
hit that breaking point and it was, so I'm there with you, sister. I'm pro sleep.
and I wish that more moms didn't get to that breaking point, right? Because it doesn't
Right.
have to be like that.
Hmm.
And it messes, like with me, it messes with my head to think about moms who feel like, or they're being told, and I've had plenty of clients come to me and tell me culturally they married in a different culture, and now they're looking at her wrong for sleep training, and she's like, I'm the only one at home during the day with my baby. Like
Sure.
I need to sleep, I need to be able to function, and I want to enjoy my time with him.
Yes.
So I'm all about, yes, let's get some sleep and we're going to be happier in the morning. We're going to be able to tackle the day because you need that energy to mother the
Yes.
children. It's not an easy job, you know.
And I just have to insert this plug in there too, that you know what's best for you and your family. And
Yeah.
it's a totally different subject, but what you just said just sprung that on me. Like mom knows best. Like trust your gut. Like you can take other people's advice, take it with a grain of salt as you wish because you know best.
Exactly. You do what works for you guys.
Yeah.
And if something's not functioning anymore the way you guys wanted it to, then you go back to the drawing table, you discuss it, and then you tackle something new. But
Exactly.
yeah, it's so important.
So okay, another question here. I'm all geared up. I want all these tips. So share with me some practical changes, like what to look for or like how to choose sleep. Like tell me, some practical meat to be able to leave these moms with.
So, in order for mom to get really good sleep, we got to make sure our babies or our toddlers are sleeping. And I'm hoping that once your listeners hear this, they don't wait until they're at their breaking point, and they can kind of get ahead of the game, because really you can start as soon as they turn 4 months old.
Mhm.
Their sleep for babies, it goes from infant sleep to more adult like patterns. So they are allowed to they're able to take longer stretches, and they're also not feeding as much because usually they're about 12 pounds around that time frame, if not before. So biologically, they don't have to eat that much. So you still feed them at night because they're 4, 5, 6 months old. They still need those night feedings, or you don't ever want to take that away from them if they're young. But you want to start laying the foundations by, for instance, let's say you co-sleep, whether your baby is sleeping in the bed with you, or your baby, or you room share, they're in a bassinet next to you. Start slowly, and you can start by moving the first nap of the day into what's going to be their new their new sleep space. And I always tell mom, sleep with the bed sheet, sleep with the crib sheet for a few nights so it has your scent, especially if baby's a little bit younger. Start putting them in there with their first nap of the day. That's always the easiest one to work on. And then just see how it goes from there.
Sure.
And then if they start to kind of do really well, then you want to transition to the night, and you really want to put most of the work into the night before you go back to the day.
Okay.
And then I always tell parents, always have a plan and make sure you guys are on the same page. Make sure you guys can be consistent with whatever plan you decide to go on, because babies, they know. And they're very smart. And so, like you said, for your daughter, she could smell your breast milk. It's 100% true. And sometimes the mom just moving to the opposite side of the bed automatically will let that baby sleep a little bit longer, because now it's almost like mom's not even really an option. And so they use you as like their comfort, which is nice. But when you're not getting that sleep, you need to find a way to fill that comfort for them during the day or at the beginning of the night routine before they fall asleep. Okay. Something else I tell parents, even if it's a newborn, but newborn about maybe 3 months, like just kind of getting out of the newborn phase, the second they start crying, don't go. Just kind of see what they do. Sometimes they wake up and they cry in between sleep cycles. So they don't even need you. They just woke up. And a lot of babies you'll find will slowly put themselves back to sleep by themselves. So laying those foundations, following the wake windows, depending on their age, once they're 4 months old to about 8 months old, you're looking at about a 2-hour window, maybe 2.5, depending on your child. Those kinds of things will really kind of help you to start building a schedule. And that's really important because babies, they understand, like I said, patterns. And every time you do something consistently, they will know that the next step is bedtime. And so once bedtime is solidified, which is really where we want them to be, because that means that now mom can sleep. Mom can have her nights back. Mom can have her bed back with her husband. Mom can do whatever she wants, because now our babies are sleeping longer stretches. And you have peace knowing, oh, they're not going to wake up in the next hour. They've got this. We have a plan. We know how we're going to approach it in response to when they do wake up. And you feel so free. Yeah. You're like, let me grab a glass of wine. Let me have a conversation with my husband. Let me take a longer shower, or whatever you want to do.
That is 110% correct. My husband and I just had that conversation last night. Not even like in the intimacy, conversation, but just like I was reading my book with the light on, in our room. And we just had a time together before we went to bed. It wasn't long. It was like 10 minutes because I was tired, but and that's what it's freeing. And that is the simplest things. And we don't want to discredit, depression or anxiety or anything like that, but there are little simple things that really make you feel like you and make you feel free again. And I really feel that sleep is a really big one of them.
Yeah. And it's self-care, really. Yeah. And I think, like you said, we're seeing so much about self-care and, just kind of relaxing again and bringing back people who believe in sleep. And it's a form of self-care, which if you feel good physically, like you feel like I got it, I'm good, you're going to feel it in your mind.
Yeah.
And what a gift to give your kids to be present and not just be miserable because you're just tired.
Yeah. Zombieing, mombieing, whatever, through the day. Exactly.
I've never heard of that. I'm going to start using that.
Mombie. Oh yeah. Mombie. I just recorded a podcast episode this morning and I said zombie and I meant to say mombie. It just dawned on me. Darn it.
So funny. Yeah. Use that. Yeah. It's true. No, momming is hard. It's I tell my husband, I'm like, this is the hardest volunteer job I've ever had. Like, this job doesn't pay. And I bust my butt day in and day out. And sometimes they're just mean.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So tell me, what services do you offer? Little Ones Sleep Society. What do you offer?
So I'm most proud of the one-on-one. I always offer, on the website, I have 3 different sleep services, and I'm really proud of them because they come with a sleep plan, a schedule for baby. that can always be tweaked, of course, depending on what baby needs.
I
But
love that
really,
you have that. Sorry.
I
But it's
know
not
that's
cookie
the point.
cutter. A customizable piece is huge.
Exactly. And there's so many things online where, which are great, and they've worked for tons of babies, but there's a lot of families who don't fall in those categories, and so being able,
We were one of them. I
really,
invested in things that I just got a PDF for, right? And
yeah,
nothing, nothing worked. So I now, thinking back, I should have probably done a one-on-one piece. So I just love that you offer something not cookie cutter.
right, because babies are not cookie cutter. And I know with my daughter, when she was a newborn, because again, I was tired, I bought something online and nothing worked. It was just not. I was like, I wasted money on it, is how I felt, because it was not particular to what we were going through, and there was nobody to talk to about it.
Right.
So I love being able to support, the families one-on-one. It's always on-demand support. So even if we're in different countries, I'm on the phone with you while you're, until baby falls asleep for the night. And then we tackle naps. And then if parents are needing something a little bit more or less structured, not something from A to Z, there's a newborn guide that I have on the website just to help parents understand newborn sleep and how to lay the foundations. There's a schedule guide for babies from 4 months to 4 years of age with different types of schedules depending on their age, so that parents can kind of see where their child should be at. And then, oh my gosh, I just forgot. I just put something new like last week. It's so new, I forgot. Newborn guide, sleep
Bedtime
guide.
battles.
What was it?
Was it bedtime battles? Something?
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you. Yes, my
Yes.
God. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Okay.
I got you.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's been a long day. So, so a guide for toddler bedtime battles, which, a lot of parents have for toddlers, and
Oh.
yeah. And they're quick guides. They're not, they're really inexpensive. They're quick guides to just kind of troubleshoot. And then if parents want to do something where we Zoom and we just go over stuff with tips, that's a whole separate thing that I offer as well. I try to make everything as easy as I can for the parents and give them options when we talk. Like, hey, these are the options. If you need a recommendation on what I think, this is what I think you should do. But you guys decide. Whatever I offer you is going to work. So just know that. And then, and then we get to work together. And there's nothing more exciting than those parents saying, oh my gosh, like, I really thought this was going to be harder. I thought that my baby was going to be crying longer. I thought he was going to take an hour to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had one baby, I'll never forget it. It was the craziest thing. When I was getting my certification, it was training. We had to do hands-on training.
Mm-hmm.
And this baby, we did the whole thing. I did a whole 10 pages of a sleep plan, right? And I told the mom, she's like, well, yeah, she goes to sleep with lullabies instead of white noise. And I said, okay, let's try white noise. The husband didn't want to do it because he was used to the lullabies, and so was the baby. She's like, well, Jamie said to turn on the white noise instead of music. And he's like, okay, fine. So he did it. And that baby turned around and went right to sleep.
No way.
She didn't need the whole plan. She just needed white noise.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like the craziest stuff. And the mom was like, holy cow, like, what just happened? And I'm like, I know sometimes it could be the smallest thing. And I'm cheering for you just as much as you're cheering for your guys, for you yourself, because it's exciting. I remember where I was and where, how it felt when she finally didn't need me every hour.
Yeah.
Right. It was so freeing. I felt like myself again. So, those are the things that I'm most proud of to offer for parents. I love it. I love giving them different methods to choose from. They choose the one that they are comfortable with, and then tweaking the methods, because sometimes even those aren't specific to their child. So how do we tweak this to make it as successful as we can? So, yeah.
Just thankful for you. Thankful for what you do. I'm just staring at you in awe. Like, I love this. So where can people find you?
So on Instagram, it's at Little Ones Sleep Society. And then the website is www.littlenonesleepsociety.com. And then there they can email me directly from there as well.
Awesome. I love it. And we did talk earlier today that you wanted to offer just a special for the listeners of the Balanced Mom Method show, a special offer if you email or DM or however to contact you, if you are mentioning that you have listened to the Balanced Mom Method podcast or that you heard of Jamie through this episode, that she will offer you $20 off any one-on-one sleep service. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I'm excited. I love having parents save their money and get to work on make them so much happier.
Well, sleep is a big part of that. If we add in a third, it won't be happening. But I would have, yes, definitely invested in a one-on-one versus just a PDF or some sort of thing.
Yeah, get them specific to your guys' needs for sure.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Is there anything else that you want to share or speak on?
I just want to thank you for having me. And I'm so excited to talk to somebody who really is about sleep, because I think there's a negative feeling when people hear the word sleep training and they don't necessarily know what it means or what goes into it and all the puzzle pieces that a sleep consultant goes through to present the family with a plan. There's so much that goes into it. And so it's really valuable to come alongside a family and see where they were, see the process, and then see how the end result of it. So I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak a little bit about why sleep is so good.
Yeah, 100%. And just coming from, a Balanced Mom Method perspective of thinking of mom's well-being, thinking back to what we talked about at the beginning of this episode with think of your psyche, you have physical ailments and physical symptoms if you are sleep deprived. One of my friends, actually a relative, told me, she goes, Jenna, there's a reason that sleep deprivation is a form of torture. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it used to be used as a form of torture. So, or it might still be, I don't know. But yeah, it was used as a form of torture. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because just you whittle away, every piece of you whittles away without
That's right. You can't think, you can't function. I mean, the mood swings. Yeah, it's so important for moms to be able to you value your kid and you would do anything for your kid and to have them be happy and healthy. So why would you not do the same for yourself?
Exactly.
Which in turn is for the child as well. They can feel it. So, so important.
So much. I can't wait to listen back to this episode. And everyone, to my mamas, everything will be discussed, or everything that we discuss will be linked in the show notes below. So where you could find her website, all the good stuff will be linked in the show notes. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Jamie.
Thank you for having me.
And until next week, mamas, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to reach your breakthrough. I'm sending my love and light.
Did you find this episode very well worth for farming? Please leave Mama a review.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the Balanced Mom Method podcast. I pray this episode has grown and helped you in some way. If it has, I'd be so grateful if you left a review sharing how it's impacted you. It truly lights me up hearing you are on your way to your breakthrough. And then, please share this episode with another mom who may be struggling to remind her we are never alone. And remember, there isn't ever a one-size-fits-all to overcoming our personal hardships, but there are a lot of parallels with how we show up to our lives and common habits we can make our own to live an intentional life full of peace, presence, confidence, clarity, and balance. Be sure to check the show notes for additional ways to connect with me, our mom community, and resources and courses for you to overcome your survival mode cycle once and for all with doable habits. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do. Sending my love and light.